Okay. Okay, guys, let's start. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the day 3 of Debatables 2.0, which is being organized by Somaiya Debating Society in collaboration with TEDxSomaiyaVidyavihar. I'm Siddhi and I'll be the presiding officer, and Saura will be chairing this debate. Um, First of all, I hope everyone's familiar with the format of the debate, but I'll just go over it very quickly. So first up, we'll have first speaker from the proposition, followed by the first speaker from the opposition. Both of these speeches will be 3 minutes long. This will be followed by a rebuttal round, which will be total 4 minutes. After which we'll have the second speaker from the proposition, followed by the second speaker from the opposition. Again, this speech will also be 3 minutes each. After these 3 minutes, you'll be given 15 seconds to wrap up your argument for both the speakers. Anything after you say after this will not be considered by the chair. Lastly, we'll have concluding speech from both the proposition and then the concluding speech from the opposition. Okay, both of these speeches will be 2 minutes each. So right now we can start with the introductions. So the speakers can introduce themselves. Can we have the first speaker from the proposition?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Alright, so hello everyone, my name is Riya Shah and I'm the first speaker from the proposition side.
Okay, second speaker from the proposition.
Yes, I'm Lalitesh and I'm the second speaker from the proposition side.
Okay. Can we have the first speaker from the opposition?
Hi, my name is Divya and I'm the first speaker from the opposition side.
Okay. Can we have the second speaker from the opposition?
Hey, this is Heath and I'm the second speaker.
Okay. Okay, guys, that was the introductions. And now we can start with the debate. I'll be sharing the timer so you guys can keep a track on your timings. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So when I say start, you guys can start, okay? Start with the first speaker of the proposition. Okay? 3, 2, 1. You guys can start. Hello? First speaker of the proposition?
Siddhi, this is Heath here.
Yeah. Are you ready to start?
No. I'm from the opposition. What I suggest, if you could just let us tell you when to start, in 3, 2, 1. So
Okay. Right.
that would
Yeah.
be easy.
Okay.
Also, I have a request. If possible, can you do it 3 minutes and 15 seconds so we can go all in one together?
No, that's the format of the debate. We can't change that.
Okay.
So it starts with 3 minutes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Is the first speaker ready?
Yeah, can't you hear me? I was speaking.
Oh, we couldn't hear you.
Okay.
I'll start again.
So I'll
Okay.
go now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello everyone, this is Riya Shah and I'm the first speaker from the proposition and I assure you that we can present arguments with logic and reason to help you understand and feel good for voting for the proposition. So my following are my arguments. The first argument is that about why the house regrets that Asian students are moving abroad for study. So Asian students study abroad and later on they find jobs over there only and are absorbed by companies abroad because of their extraordinary abilities and thus they get settled over there. So this leads to brain drain and Asia is losing lots of its jewels to Western countries, thereby only contributing to the development of those Western countries. Also, we are contributing to the economies of those countries by through the students that study over there and pay the living expenses and tuition fees, etc. My second argument is that is about the cross-cultural barriers which hinder the ability of the students to succeed in new environments. International students have faced difficulty in completing satisfactory assignments and also mingling with the classmates and making friends due to the difficulty in grammar and spelling, then differences in culture and lack of confidence in English speaking. Students who experience this discrepancy often get lower scores of adaptability to new environment, but higher scores of anxiety. Such students desperately desire to go back home and suppress their dreams in life. This hardship can also lead to depression, although such extreme conditions do not befall on all of the international students, but it does happen uh, in lower intensity, like unsatisfactory scores and difficulty in making friends. Also, international students bring a global perspective and domestic ideas to the universities abroad, which supports innovation and development of those countries. Their diverse views contribute to technological innovation through science and technology fields. This increases the ability of those countries to compete in the global economy, but it reduces the competency of the home countries in comparison. So these are my arguments, which state that we regret the trend of Asian students going abroad for study. Thank you.
Okay, do we have the first speaker from opposition?
Yes.
Okay, you can start. Okay, in 3, 2, 1, start.
Hi, so today I'm going to be speaking in opposition of the given topic. What does an individual look for in colleges? Simple, the best possible path to a successful career. But this is just a smaller picture. What is needed to make the above possible? That's thinking big, thinking bold. Success can mean different things to different people in the world. However, the universal language spoken, it's sitting in a big office at a high post when your signature turns into an autograph. For the public, it's whoever you inspire, people who connect to you. To take these dreams and shape them into reality, students in Asia often consider going abroad. Why, you ask? These countries give more opportunities to one student. They have various programs customized by the student that lead to the most optimized education that they desire, which their heart attracts. Let's take India for example. What is the study pattern? Most first years are expected to study everything, expected to by heart information that is freely and readily available, just one command away on the internet. However, this is not the case for countries abroad. They focus on conceptual clarity, something much more important in the longer run. Their courses are decided by the students itself as majors and minors, covering all they aspire. The cat and rat race in India, or any country in Asia for that matter, is no joke. What matters here is not how good you are at one thing. Be an all rounder, they say. Academics are a must. What they don't realize is that the student who is having to take all of this burden on their shoulder might not even want to do what they are expected to. And what is all of this for? A 9 to 5 job with low pay, which let me add is not easy to secure. Your head is constantly on the chopping board. But the situation changes dramatically abroad. They recognize each and every talent of an individual. Academics is not all they consider. This leads to the development of an individual mind. What are the perks of this? Why do students so readily want to go abroad? In today's world, as they say, your network is your net worth. Countries like the USA, Australia provide exactly that, a playground with major diversity in culture, people, places, and thoughts. Being in such a wide pool of ideas changes your own perspective and outlook towards one's life. Building and shaping your life outside your house is something that prepares you for tomorrow. Moving out of your comfort zone and taking risks you otherwise wouldn't is what helps you mature, become more independent. Learning skills globally required is in the market, understanding the phenomenon of seeing things from a different lens. It helps you shape your own tomorrow starting now. The most our mind learns is in an uncontrolled environment. How can everyone afford it? Scholarships. Countries recognize and support bright students, who are the pillars of tomorrow. Many countries like Germany, for example, gives education courses to students for free. Sweden, as well, for the instance, gives you monthly allowances and covers your tuition studies. The benefits of studying abroad are a lot because companies go to the students because variety is the spice of life. Thank you.
Okay, guys, so that is done. So now we'll start with the rebuttal round. So, rebuttal is 4 minutes long for both of you. So, it will start with the opposition asking a question, and then the proposition will take it up. and then the proposition can ask a second question. Okay. Make sure there is no cross questioning, cross talk, or follow up questions, and keep your question as short as possible. Okay, I'll start the timer for 4 minutes. Is this opposition ready with the questions?
1 minute, 1 minute.
Yeah.
Hey, so only one question has to be asked.
Okay.
Sorry, one question or two questions?
You can ask as many questions as possible in the 4 minute period, but make sure you give each other enough time to talk.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Should we start?
Yeah, you
Opposition?
can start. Yes. So my question to you is, you mentioned in your speech that going abroad, people settle down because their extraordinary talents are recognized by the state, and this leads to the drain of brain power from their own countries. So, are you suggesting that the person who has these skills not should not use them and stay in a country which is forbidding them from growing, and they're not able to use their talent properly? That's my question.
Yes, it's been pretty usual that, and in many cases, a person believes that if his house is full of goals, he's still jealous and he still feels that other person house is better than his. Yes, I agree to your point that yes, students go outside and they have better opportunities. But yes, the scenario has changed. It's been 75 years of independence since our India of India, and many things have changed. And yes, many chunks of many large number of people are coming back. They are having good. They are doing their PhDs or they are doing their MS from outside, and they are bringing those knowledge to our India and joining these prestigious organizations like ISRO's, BARC, and putting in great contribution to these organizations and making India stand on a different level, especially in DRDO also, in defense sector, in technology sector, in medical sector. You name one, you have an example. And I think the opportunities in India are also growing as IT sector has been reached to a boom, and now semiconductor sector would be at a boom as we are going to see the major investments in the semiconductors industry. So I think the scenario is changing, and it will change in few coming years. I would like to also mention that in government is also coming up with NEP. So I think it would change.
Proposition, you can ask a question now.
Yes. What are the problems that an individual student face and when he goes to abroad, and what does a student do in that case? How does he tackle that kind of depression and pressure that he faces that time because he's alone
So I
during
would like to answer.
any.
I would like to answer your question. So, if a student is moving in foreign countries from Asia, then there are a lot of programs which he or she could register themselves in, which help them cope up socially and solve a lot of their problems. So, and they also inform there are specific seminars only made for abroad students, so they can get in easily in touch with the country's culture, and they could have a better understanding of how they could spend their life there or live over there. uh, I understand what you're trying to say is like students will obviously have problems if they are going abroad. That's a fact, but no one has grown in their comfort zone, and like being out there in global society would like help them grow as an individual, so it's like good for them. So that would be the answer to your question.
Okay, guys, I think we'll stop here because we don't have enough time for both of you to ask another question. So now we can move on to the next round. We'll have the first speaker from the second speaker from the opposition proposition. You have 3 minutes and 15 seconds.
Siddhi, we had time of 30 seconds. Now we could have asked a question.
You could have asked, but then they would also have to ask, right? We have to give both of you equal chance. So
Okay, so we won't ask.
But
Okay,
if the
This
okay.
same
adjudicator
thing,
is
this
okay, we
same
can do
thing
it.
happened in the last knockouts as well, but we were given a chance to ask a second question
Okay, like if the
over time.
adjudicator is okay, I am okay with it. But I thought since it's equal.
No, no, no. Whatever thing
Yeah,
is
that's
fine. Go.
fine. I'm
Okay,
good
so
with
do you
it.
guys wanna go for a second question? All of you?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Why?
So I'll keep a timer of 1 minute. Make sure both of you ask each other questions, right? We have to keep that equal. I'll keep it 1 minute 30 seconds, so both of you have enough time. Okay? We can have the opposition start. 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so my question would be that, what do you think about the countries which are providing people with a lot of opportunities to study abroad and uh, like with a work visa and a volunteering visa? So why shouldn't someone pursue that?
It's
So
totally it's to yes.
So there are a lot of Indian as well as Asian universities too, which offer great opportunities and which rank highly as well. And you can get opportunities to work in Asia also. And like for example, MBA in India, there are IIMs, IBS Bangalore, which rank in the top 50 global MBA list. Isn't that impressing as well? And uh, also, these just like the Western countries ask for great caliber and they require good competence for their jobs after your degree is completed. Just like that, the Asian countries also ask for great competence and they also offer lucrative salaries. Why not choose your own country and stay in your own country instead of going to others?
Uh, the proposition wants to ask a question, right? So I'll reset it back, okay? Hello?
The prof
Yes,
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 asked two
yes.
please,
questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
please start.
Yeah.
Families of the students studying abroad take big loans for studying in expensive Western countries that rather than their own countries in Asia. So it also leads to lower economic welfare of those families. So how do you validate your point in this?
Okay, I'll give you an answer to that. Very firstly, parents or families do not need to take such loans. Student loans are available at much lesser prices or interest rates, which is keeping all of this in mind. That's why the government has removed such loans. Also, to add why take them, students who take such loans often recover the entire cost that they've had to pay in a couple of years of working because not only do they pay in the foreign currency, they also earn in the foreign currency. So it's all to and fro. And after a couple of years of doing that, they at the end make a lot more money than they would if you consider staying in India or any Asian country, as a matter of fact, because the currency outside is a lot more powerful, and we all know this as a fact. That's all.
Can I just answer to this question? Answer, or we could just comment after the conclusion.
I think we'll stop because you can ask a question and then you can answer. You can't
No,
just.
no, I'm saying that to the answer, we could just discuss upon these answers after the round three.
We can do it after the end of the debate.
Litesh, you can
So,
counter these points in your turn, the second speaker of proposition.
Yeah, we'll move on to the next round, okay? So, do we have the second speaker of the proposition? Hello? Hello?
Litesh, you there?
yes, 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 I'm there.
Is that right? Okay, should I start?
Just a minute, just a minute.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, start.
Okay.
Yes, I want to just start with the education loan. That people, yes, agree. People have a great edge that when they take loan, education loan, they pay it after their completion of graduation when they earn. But yes, when they take loans, it is also sometimes it becomes a burden, because when they take loans from Indian banks, they get loan in not in dollars, they get loan in dollars, not in required loan in dollars, because they need to pay the fees in dollars to the institute where they are studying, no, but not in rupees. So it's becomes sometimes become a burden. And yes, various you said ki various these countries and institutes recognize the talents of the students who are coming internationally. But yes, I want to add a point that various institutes in our country also recognize these talents by examinations, and many by giving internships in going in DRDOs and various other organizations, when they could their skills will be identified, and hence they could get a job, or they could just do uh, what they want. The number of Indian students studying outside India has rapidly increased by 163% between 1999 to 2006, and it reaches to 1,45,539 as compared, but it has the growth is slower, and it is about 25% between 2006 to 2003, according to UNESCO data. Yes, I agree that outside India they get better opportunities. But yes, we in India also we are regularly updating our education policies, and we have to regularly update it, because if you see the previous records, we were not updating it. But as we have introduced NEP, we are also looking forward to update our education system, and hence improve the education quality and education standards of our country, and therefore thereby increasing the rankings of our institutes in all over the globe. And you can also see that many of the Indian origin people are CEOs of many American companies, Australian companies, and many Britain company, because these are because that they have got these privileges, and these all our countries are acceptables, and all these countries are accepting these people. They are open, and they do not have many factors like casteism and communalism and religionism are not there. But yes, in India, as we are developing ourselves, and many people are going out and educating themselves. So in India also, casteism, communism, and religionism are also increasing day by day. And I believe that by certain years we would be ending. We would be we would reach a level that we are not facing these kind of issues, and our education system would also increase, thereby not encouraging students to go outside and study internationally, but stay in India and have a good quality education. Thank you.
Okay, can we have the second speaker of the opposition?
Yeah, hello. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. Shall I start?
So, okay, start in three, two, one, go. So, I would like to start. I would like to state my first argument. The return on investment is much more on the people who go to abroad, because they earn much more, and that is one thing which should be taken into consideration. And like what the government said, that people in India, people are hired as CEOs in the foreign countries. So I would like to give you an example. Like if Sundar Pichai, as we know, the CEO of Alphabet. So he's basically an ambassador of the country in a foreign nation, which in turn uh, boosts people pride in our nation, and these people also help back to the nation by increasing their economy and putting their best foot forward to help the countries grow as well. So that's one thing which I need to say. That being said, I would like to say that no one who has lived through the second half of the 20th century would possibly be blind to the enormous impact of exchange programs on the future of our countries. So that's one thing which we should take care about. So like what going abroad can break down conceptualization of culture and senses and superiority in regarding your own society, and it can allow for an opportunity to appreciate it more fully. So why people would like to go abroad, as it was answered by my partner, that there is a better living, healthcare, and infrastructure, which helps people get a better life. So that's one thing which should be taken care of. So I know that academia is great and building up knowledge is nice as well. But what life is about is getting experiences and diving into adventures. So going abroad and exploring yourself would help you develop those life skills. And it is easier to go abroad right now than it ever is. So it's not about packing the right stuff and worrying about a lot of problems. It's about having the right mindset. And as the students who go abroad, like they also get a vast knowledge about the palette of different cultures. And while interacting through these students can become uh, like they can help the other countries to know about the Asian cultures as well, and the Western countries to know about the Asian cultures, which helps as the stepping stone and the base for the bigger nations to become more and more involved with other people's culture, as it is growing, as it is seen that a lot of Western countries are influenced by Asian cultures. So uh, that's one thing. And now, I'd like to conclude. I'd like to say that my opinion is that what the arguments the government is presenting are completely in the realm of sophism, and I believe that there could be a better answer for these. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, guys. Now we can move on to the conclusion round. So both the teams can state their concluding statements. So let's start with the proposition. Are you guys ready for your concluding statement?
Yes, yes,
Yeah, okay. So you will have 2 minutes, okay? Should I start?
yes.
Yeah.
So I would like to conclude by saying that in India, we also have a very great variety of culture. So if a student goes to a college like IIT, he get a great variations of student and have a great exposure. And we also have a youth exchange programs being organized with different countries through which many youth of a country can go outside and have can see and have a look on different cultures of other countries. And I think personally believe that it's a personal choice of a student. But yes, many people are in our country are middle class. Major chunk of population are middle class, and they are looking for better opportunities first in India and then after in foreign countries. And I see that the government is also giving more funds to build more institutes like IITs. They are building more institutes as to keep the ratio with the population and giving more funding in the infrastructure, research works, and many other things so that students could get a top-notch education and exposure. And many events are also being organized. And I think it has been getting easier to get more education in India. And yes, it's personal. At the end, it is personal. But yes, I think the government has put in a lot of efforts, and I think in the coming years it would improve more. And as in education, national education policies are being going to implement, and many other policies basing on national NEP would be coming forward, which would be beneficial for the student, and hence will help in stopping the brain drain and would break the culture. And also the startup culture and entrepreneurship culture, which is coming up in India and it is booming. Many students are taking part in it, and therefore it is also helping them to stay in India and contribute to Indian economy in that way. Thank you.
Okay. Can we have the opposition for the concluding statement?
Yeah, you can start.
Okay.
To conclude and sum up everything we've said today, I'll start and begin with like there is no denying the fact the world today is a global village where people must meet and grow together. I believe that going abroad strengthens our soul and trains our mind to function in the toughest of the situations and emerge as a winner. It helps us in understanding our own strengths and weaknesses and helps us re-rising from the depths of our mistakes, coming back stronger and smarter. It teaches us to be faster and more aware of our surroundings, seeing the world as a new painting, one that you have created free from the rumors and the thoughts of the others. Living the life in our own terms and taking fate in our own hands, we choose our tomorrow. I'd also like to say that as IITs are definitely an awesome place to study, but 15 lakh students aspire to be IITians, whereas only 10,000 emerges them. As Saint Augustine rightly said, the world is a book, and those who do not travel only read a page. Our life is all about experiences, and what we do not see, we do not understand. Reading books and trying to gain knowledge is awesome, but what we really see and what we really feel is what actually helps us going forward, going ahead, and being ahead of our crowd. Cost money is something that one person can always acquire and one person can always get into, but the opportunity of going and seizing the opportunity is what actually matters. Luck prepares and favors those who have prepared themselves accordingly. So, in the end, all I'd like to be saying is that I strongly believe that going abroad changes our mindset, changes our views, helps us widening our outlook, and gives us the freedom to choose who we want to be, what we want to be, and how we want to be. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, speakers. That was a great debate, guys. Uh, Chair, do you need some time before you give the verdict?
Yeah, about that. So, like, do I just need to give the verdict, or do I have to uh, state the rationale behind
Um,
my decision? So,
yeah, you can do
how
that.
does this
think
work?
I think we're running late, so maybe you could just give out the verdict and we could start with the next slot.
Yeah,
We're
that
running
works.
late.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, cool, cool. So, I have the verdict. The motion stands. The government wins the debate. I'll just like quickly sum up in since we're short of time. First off, like when we are talking about a regret motion, you have to actually come and present on both sides the possible like harm that the motion in discussion presents to the stakeholders. In this case, the government did engage with the topic and did try and speak about why this is becoming an important factor and how it is harming the respective nations. Whereas the opposition engaged more on the topic of an individual choice of wanting to study outside and how can they tackle with it and ROI and stuff like that. So in the bigger picture, the way I put it is the motion should stand and the government's points supersede what the opposition has put forth.
Okay, guys. That was a great debate. I thank all the speakers for presenting such an amazing debate, and I thank the chair for giving us their time. Thank you for today. Just before you go, can I just confirm the names of the speakers? Uh, the proposition was speaker.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to day 3 of Debatables 2.0, organized by TEDxSomaiyaVidyavihar in collaboration with Somaiya Debating Society. I'm Aman, and I'll be your presiding officer for today. Saurabh will be chairing this debate. I hope that the format is very clear to you all. I'll just go over it very quickly. First up, we'll have the first speaker from the proposition, followed by the first speaker from the opposition. Both these speeches will be of 3 minutes each. This will be followed by a rebuttal round, which will be of 4 minutes long, after which we'll have the second speaker from the proposition, followed by the second speaker from the opposition. Again, these will be of 3 minutes each. Speakers, please note that you'll have 3 minutes to put your arguments forward, after which you'll get exactly 15 seconds to wrap up your entire speech. Anything you say after this will not be considered by the chair. Lastly, we'll have the concluding speech from the proposition, followed by the concluding speech from the opposition. Both these speeches will be of 2 minutes long. Alright, so on that note, I would like the first speaker to introduce themselves. First speaker from the proposition, can you please introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Sagar Sarvi and I am from KJS IIT first year comms.
Thank you, speaker. Second speaker from proposition, can you please introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Patul Dapurwala and I am from first year comms.
Alright, thank you, speaker. Can the first speaker from opposition introduce themselves?
Yeah, hello, my name is Jeet Savardekar and I am a second year student of computer engineering at KJ Somaiya College of Engineering.
Thank you, speaker. Can the second speaker from opposition introduce themselves?
Hi everyone, I'm Shrem Bora. I'm also a second year student for computer engineering at KJSC. Thank you.
Thank you so much, speaker. Now I will be sharing my screen with the timer so that it's easy for everybody. Please join the live session. Okay. Now I would like to call the first speaker from proposition to open the debate. Speaker, please let me know whenever you're ready. I'll start the timer.
Yes, I'm ready. It should be 3 minutes, right? 3 minutes.
3 minutes for your entire speech and 15 seconds to wrap up your entire speech.
Okay, thank you.
3, 2, 1.
The House would support the motion to introduce eco-conscription. The idea of an eco-conscription is indeed. Imagine 18 to 21-year-old living in rural areas, helping farmers, understanding their hard work and their hardships, understanding the financial problems they face, the increasing number of farmers committing suicide, the irrigation and rainwater problems, what can be grown where, why the increasing use of pesticides, land fertility, fragmentation, and so on. As a responsible citizen, we would gladly do it as a part of the responsibility towards the nation. Imagine the idea that can be generated from these youth with diverse education backgrounds to tackle the many issues that agriculture faces today. The collective spirit will ensure that the farmer is not alone in his path to provide us all food. The number of social, health, and ecological benefits that can be gained from a year of working in common purpose is astounding. Breaking down social barriers by having people working together from all over the country will remind us how much we have in common. Working outside in nature is known to benefit us in body and mind, and not just because it might be a bit of a hippie, but because peer-reviewed science shows that it does. We know that the coalescence is faster, recidivism is reduced, learning is deeper, and our minds are eased in nature. For example, France announced that in the beginning of 2019, it will require all men and women at age of 16 to commit a month learning service skill as a first aid and applying these skills in real world. After completing their month of service, they will be encouraged to volunteer for 3 to 12 months. The volunteer service could include tutoring, helping the environment, or supporting national defenses and securities via army, police, and civil securities. So, in conclusion, concluding my speech, I would like to suggest that many countries can take this as an opportunity to indulge the youth in various activities for their physical health and also plan towards the progress of the country. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. I would like to call the first speaker from opposition to put their case forward. Speaker, please let me know when you're ready. I'll start the timer.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Eco-conscription. I'm going to speak against the motion that the House would introduce eco-conscription. What is conscription? In conscription, it is compulsory for the citizens over the age of 18 to serve for national service and to help the environment in these 2 years of service. I'll tell you why this will not benefit society as a whole. 1. 2 years from a person's life, from the prime of his youth, will be dedicated solely to the helping of the environment. This might sound good to us because we do not have to feed our families, but the speaker of the proposition mentioned that this will bring people together. I do not think so. This would actually create more of a gap wherein people from poorer backgrounds will have to give the same amount of time as people from richer backgrounds, and thus they will not be able to provide for their family in those 2 years. Secondly, conscription is compulsory. And history has proved that whenever anything has been thrust upon the people, they have not abided by it. And this remains true. It is a fundamental duty to care for the environment. It is even enshrined in the constitution that it is a fundamental duty. But there's a reason it is not actionable by law. And that is because taking time out from your daily life, say once a week, twice a week, to help the environment, to clean up or to plant a tree is a different thing. And dedicating 2 years of your life is a different thing. And if it is forced upon the people, they will just not abide by it. These are 2 reasons why eco-conscription is not the way to go ahead. What can we do? There are many things that can be done. For example, being environmentally friendly can be inculcated in children from when they are small. So instead of legally requiring them to give 2 years of their life towards the environment, they can slowly contribute as they grow up. Because, let me remind you, the damage done to the environment has been done over generation to generation. And today, we cannot just wake up and say, hey, you guys have to dedicate 2 years of your life to the environment. It is not going to be accepted by the people. Instead, we can try to teach children from a very young age. And so generation by generation, we can try to reverse the damage that has been created. To summarize, people are not going to abide by something that is forced upon them. Conscription will not bring people together. It will actually increase social gap. And third, this is a slow and gradual process and cannot be undone by legally forcing people just to work for 2 years of their life towards this cause. Thank you. I rest my case.
Now, with that done, we'll move on to the rebuttal rounds. This will be of 4 minutes long and it starts with a question from the opposition. Proposition will take it up and they'll ask another question in turn. No cross questioning, cross talk, or follow up questions will be allowed. If any point during the rebuttal round you feel that your question wasn't addressed satisfactorily, that will be taken care by the judge in the chair in the verdict. Also, please keep your questions short and to the point. Now, I would like the opposition to please go ahead and ask their first question after the timer has been set. Let me know whenever you're ready.
All right. I will ask in 3, 2, 1. Yeah. So essentially, when we talk about conscription, you talk about how you're forcing people to work for 2 years, right? So does the government feel it justified to take away 2 important years from the life of the youth?
Hello? Hello, am I audible? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah, you're audible.
Yes.
Continue.
So here's the catch, right? We all know that giving 2 years of our life are not possible. Years of anyone's life is not possible only for farmers. So in students when they are in universities, we all have summer internship, various projects. So the universities can take measures to give students these projects during their vacations or during their summer internship, so that they can also indulge in the farming activities and also they can earn credits from it, which we have, right? The credit system we have in our colleges, we get after doing projects. which we can use the universities can use them, so that the students can also progress through it, and also they'll do the work they have assigned enthusiastically.
Now the proposition will ask a question to the opposition.
Rob, do you have a question?
Proposition, do you have any questions?
I think we can take another question from Op then. Does that work, Chair?
Right, I mean, I like find it better if someone from the Gov side at least responded, because I'm not sure if they're on the meeting over here. Can someone from the Gov side just speak up, please? Oh,
Proposition, the timer is running out.
Hi. I'm sorry, actually, we got a little network issue, so we couldn't get through properly. Like what the opposition was speaking for the last 3 minutes. No, we couldn't kind of get through properly.
Chair, do I hold on to the timer?
No, you can ask the ops to ask questions if they have any. Bit pass.
Okay, can we ask a
yeah,
question?
that works. Then go ahead. Sure.
Yeah, so my question is that do you think conscription is the best way to inculcate environmental friendly nature, because it is forced, while teaching it in schools and allowing people to do it on their own will is, a better way to do it? Do you think conscription is the best way to inculcate environment friendly behavior in people?
I would like to answer that. So from so many years, it is free for everybody, and you can voluntarily just take up and help environmental stuff. But do you think it is helping anything? Because nobody is doing anything. So unless it is not forced upon you, people do not actually take it seriously. I think the timer is on.
You can continue. That's fine. In case.
So yeah, like for example, take it in today's situation, we were in lockdown for like 2 years. So unless we were forced to sit at home, we did not really realize how online world works. And that was actually when we learned how to go online. And since it was forced on everybody, people started learning how things work on the laptop and stuff. So in the same way, if it is not made compulsory on them, people will not really take it seriously. That is all.
Thank you, speakers. And now I would like to invite the second speaker from the proposition to put their case forward. Speaker, please do let me know when you're ready. I'll start the timer.
Yeah, I'm ready. As my teammate mentioned earlier, as we get older, we get tied into commitments such as jobs and family that can make getting involved in community based projects harder. So, the time to tap into this innate quality is while commitments are few. Living amongst nature has many advantages. The youth will be more creative and aware of the ecological disasters, making them environment conscious. It also takes them away from their laptops, mobiles, and computer games. Learning where food comes from, growing it, and eating it will help tackle unhealthy patterns of consumption. Rural communities will benefit from an influx of people. Villages might become more than dormitories once more, and the emphasis would shift from contractors' tractors to the main people power. This would This would not be restricted to the countryside. Urban growing and community projects would also be up and running. Staying in rural can reach them the Indian can teach them the Indian values and culture. Like when I was traveling, whenever I visited a rural home, they would never go without a meal, however poor they were. For them, even today, guest is God. Such aspects of living can imbibe many qualities of our culture in the youth. Imagine a cohort of young people who had gained a real insight into where food came from, who had learned to respect the land, who had worked with a common goal. Imagine the power these young people would have, the self awareness as well as the skills. It would immensely grow in the progress of the country. For example, universities can start their own plantation projects in their own campuses, making the campus more attractive, which in return would be the gateway for universities to give credits to students to indulge in farming activities, which can eventually improve the CV of the students, resulting in more participation from the students as it becomes a path to improve their future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, speaker. Now I would like to invite the second speaker from opposition to put their case forward. Speaker, please do let me know when you're ready. I'll start the time.
Just give me 10 seconds. Yeah.
All right.
All right. I'll start in 3, 2, 1. Respected chair and colleagues. So I'm the second speaker for the opposition today, and I essentially try to sum up the debate from my side, and also try to address certain points which was made by the government bench, which doesn't really sit right with me. All right. So coming to the core of the topic, which is eco conscription, and coming once again to the core is what conscription actually means. It's compulsory work towards the environment. And I think the essence of the word compulsory was lost somewhere in translation, which the government said. And I'll just try to rebut a few points which was made, right? So the government talked about how working for projects in universities for extra credits, or how summer projects which the university would give students would benefit the students. But I would agree, yeah, it definitely does benefit the students. But again, you lose the point of them actually being forced to work for it and them compulsorily work for it. Them working for a project which is given in the university is widely and vastly separate and away from them being actually conscripted for being worked towards the environment. Then they talked about how in countries like France, they had to work for 1 month specifically for a special volunteer project, and post that they were encouraged to volunteer. Once again, I'll stress on the word volunteer since these people were encouraged to volunteer. Now, if we are able to come up with a middle ground wherein we tell people that you can volunteer for a specific project, then even the opposition would be likely to go for it, just considering the fact that it's not compulsory, and people not working for a compulsory work would again be more inclined and more likely to try to learn what it is about and understand what the topic actually is. Then was the topic of how 18 to 21-year-olds should be sent to villages to work with the farmers, with the people in the rural areas, so that they understand responsibility and importance of what the work is being done. But I would argue the fact that 18 to 21 for most people, it's like the formative years of these people. And in most cases, these are the years which is utilized to learn about what the world actually is about and what can be done and what awaits you when you go out there. And if you spend these valuable 3 years in a village, in narrow mindset, narrow borders, I think you are just trying to curtail what they are actually trying to achieve in the future. More or less, again, something which should be shown is how people are more likely to work if they are given it on their own, just considering the fact that if it's not compulsory, they would be more inclined and more likely to actually go for it. With that, I would like to once again showcase the fact that eco conscription is not something which should be taken up, and people should more go for voluntary work rather than being forced to work. Thank you. With that, I respect.
Thank you, speakers. Now we'll be moving on to the concluding statement, starting with the proposition. Please note that you're not allowed to bring up any new arguments here. Proposition, please do let me know when you're ready. I'll start the timer.
Yes, you can start. So concluding, I would just say, why would the teenagers want to take part in this eco-conscription? People are naturally good, helpful, community-minded and kind. Just to look at the recent events to see the ease with which the good floods out in response to crisis. And as millions gathered for the great get-together weekend, you could see how it did not need to immediate crisis to bring out the best. There is an exaggerated sense of how bad we all are, promulgated through much of the media. I believe that there is a good in everyone. We are a young country with intelligent engineers, doctors, IT finance professions, and scientists. Imagine all these professional careers with farmer and agricultures in mind, developing ideas to create an agricultural revolution which is which has never been like before. So that's why we need to take eco conscription not as like compulsion but as a volunteering process, so that everyone will have a knowledge about agriculture and farming and we can achieve a greater good.
Proposition, you're done. Thank you, speaker.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
Now I would like to bring the opposition to put forth their concluding statements. Please let me know when you're ready. I'll start the timer.
Yes, I'm ready. One of the arguments that got me from the proposition is that they keep talking about volunteering. Conscription means compulsory recruitment. That is the point. It is compulsory, and that is what we have been stressing on. Once it is compulsory, once people are forced to do it, irrespective of the free will, people are not going to do that well or not contribute to it. Another thing that I noticed the opposition keeps mentioning is working with farmers. That can be inculcated in so many ways. It can be part of our curriculum. It can be part of corporate social responsibility. It is a part of corporate social responsibility even today. The opposition has kept stressing that eco-conscription is going to backfire if it is done because of its compulsory nature and its length. 2 years. 2 years away from our normal lives, just working for the environment, because that is what conscription is. Conscription is not something you do in your free time. Conscription is a full-time thing. Conscription has originated from war. So this is like going for war for the environment, which is something that people just cannot afford to do. So basically what the opposition would like to conclude by saying is that yes, we have to work towards the environment, and yes, it can be done in a methodical manner by textbooks, by teaching in the curriculums, and by corporate social responsibility, as I mentioned. But by eco-conscription, it is going to backfire, as people cannot logically give 2 years of their life to only one purpose. Secondly, they mentioned good versus bad. There's no question of good versus bad here. Yes, everyone might be inherently good, but everyone also has to feed their families. And 2 years out of your life compulsorily forced by the government to do something, it is just going to create an atmosphere of mistrust and anger among the people, and that's not how we want to go about it, right? This is it. The opposition rests its case.
Thank you, speaker. With that speech, we've come to the end of this debate. Chair, would you like to take some time before you give the verdict?
No, I'm good. I have the verdict. How much time do we have?
We have 5 minutes more.
Okay. Cool. Then I'll just go ahead with it. The motion falls, opposition wins. And here's my rationale, right? So there are four basic clashes between the two sides. First was the basic issue of conscription, right? And the opposition rightly painted that it is mandatory in the end, it is something that's forced on people. And while the first speaker in the government did try to take it up in her speech as well as in the question answer round, I believe that there were certain cracks in the government side in justifying the conscription part in the entirety of the debate. because of which I felt that this argument was like clearly won by the opposition. On the opposition's point of the social inequality that might just be worsening because of this entire propaganda. Uh, I mean, it was not even engaged by the government side, and that's a pity because there was enough scope for you to discuss on how you could actually like provide for, like incentivize this, or rather like provide for the people who are under the program through, let's say, certain salaries, or how interns are paid stipends. So there was enough scope for it, but that was not taken up, unfortunately. The third was the method of rather the model behind the entire motion, something that the government is supposed to be having right from the start, but unfortunately only came up during the question answer round when the closing government said that universities can have this program, but like in form of like credit projects. This is not exactly a very strong model, and it was clearly refuted by the opposition. Secondly, it went against the basic idea that you're supposed to bring out with. So, finally, there was some scope on the government side when they said that, well, volunteerism has not exactly helped, and that's why we need to bring in a mandatory provision for people to start working for the environment. That was not further engaged upon by the government side either, and that's a pity. But because of this, the clashes clearly lie with the opposition side, and the motion falls. Any questions? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, we can.
Awesome. So in case if there are no questions, then I think like overall the debate was pretty good. I'll be honest. Like while the opposition did take the debate, I've like scored all the speakers fairly well because I think that there's enough equity in the level of debate that I've seen over here. So like good work by all four of you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, speakers. This was a great debate, and congratulations to the winners.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the day 3 of Debatables 2.0, which is being organized by Somaiya Debating Society in collaboration with TEDxSomaiyaVidyavihar. I'm Siddhi, and I'll be your presiding officer. And Saurabh will be chairing this debate. I hope you guys are familiar with the format. I'll just go over it quickly. First, we'll have the first speaker from the proposition, followed by the first speaker from the opposition. Both of these speeches will be 3 minutes long. This will be followed by the rebuttal round, which will be 4 minutes long. And after that, we will have the second speaker from the proposition, followed by the second speaker from the opposition. Again, these speeches will be 3 minutes each. After the 3 minutes, you'll get 15 seconds to wrap up your arguments. And after that, anything you say will not be considered by the chair. Lastly, we'll have the concluding speech from the proposition, followed by the concluding speech from the opposition. Both these speeches will be 2 minutes long. So let's start with the introductions. Can we have the first speaker from the proposition introduce themselves?
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Hello. Shall I start?
Yes. Please introduce
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah. I'm Shweta Tiwari from KJ Somaiya Arts and Commerce. I will be speaking in proposition for the motion hacking and releasing of confidential information as a part of protest.
Okay. Can we have the second speaker from the proposition?
Good evening, dear jury, and respected teachers, for the opponents, and my dear friends. I am Manish Maurya from KJ Somaiya Engineering Domain and here to speak for the proposition of the hacking and releasing of confidential information as a form of protest.
Thank you. Can we have the first speaker from the opposition?
My name is Harshita Dubey, and I'll be speaking against the motion of the topic, the hacking and releasing confidential information as a form of protest.
Thank you. Harshita, can we have the second speaker from the opposition?
Hi, I'm Fatima, first year student of KJ Somaiya College of Arts and Commerce. And today I will be speaking against the motion that that hacking and releasing of information as a part of protest.
Okay, thank you, speakers. Now we can start with the debate. I'll share my screen so you can see the timer. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. So is the first speaker from the proposition ready?
Yeah.
Okay. On the count of 3. 3, 2, 1.
Shall I start? Yeah. Before starting, we shall be aware about the term anonymous. Someone who is identityless but is a supporter of human rights and strives to give justice and is against tyranny. He hacks the data from various government and companies' website to gather information to prove the crime and injustice. It is important for the present times in COVID situation where the traditional protest can be dangerous. Hacktivism is proven useful in countering cyber terrorism and cyber attacks. For instance, India hacks Pakistan's government domain to gather information about planning of attack against India. A lot of damage can be saved by leaking such information and protecting India's security. Although it sounds a very modern concept, its origin lies back in 1995. I would like to present few acts of hacktivism. During 2009 Iran election, when President Mohammed faced a lot of controversy of manipulating votes from the opposition, Anonymous played an important role in sharing the information from and to Iran by a website. Also, in 1998, a group of US hackers called Legans declared a cyber war against Iraq and China and planned on disabling internet services in the mentioned countries for retaliation of human rights abuses. Release of Afghanistan war logs published over 90,000 documents regarding war in Afghanistan, prior to which it gave leaks to 3 newspapers exposing 144 incidents of unreported civilian casualties, by US military. One one which everyone must be aware of is Panama Papers and Pandora Papers, which is known to be history's biggest data leaks, exposing several political and wealthy people hiding their black money in offshore foreign accounts. I believe when a person who has no political power raises his voice against injustice, makes himself vulnerable of many risks, but the internet provides that benefit of showing the truth behind the scenes, which may be manipulated by powerful people. Thank you.
Okay. Can we have the first speaker from the opposition?
Yeah.
Yeah. Should I start? 3,
Sure.
2, 1.
I strongly believe that hacking or leaking confidential data as a form of protest to prove a certain point is just not acceptable and justified. It is not only against the ethics, but it also breaks people's trust in government organization and technological development. So earlier, the protests were different. They used to the methods were different for expressing their disapproval or to object something. But now, a new kind of activism has risen in the ranks. And the sad part is that it has gained a reputation, and the term has been coined hacktivism. So, hacktivism consists of breaking into computer system of political, social, religious, and anarchic reasons. And what happened is the hackers have begun to wage a war against the information. Let's take an example of an infamous campaign that happened recently. Amid the global protest following the killing of George Floyd, an hacktivist group called Anonymous rampaged across the internet, stealing and breaking hundreds of gigabytes of law enforcement files and internal communications. So, what happened was the data that was leaked and posted online included mails, videos, audios, intelligence documents, etc., of more than 200 state, local, and federal agencies. So I don't know if the justice that was delivered was because of this activism, but the effect of this on the employees and the general public was more than a mere embarrassment. It was invasion of privacy, and to some extent, it was identity theft. So what happened is now that the government of many countries are considering to put restrictions on certain online methods and systems. So the database that is leaked and posted includes everything from name, address, phone number to financial information and IP address, not only of the public organization but also the public data. So, which could, and we don't know that it could be processed to identify an individual, and also the possibility of it coming back to haunt any one individual would be fairly low, but never zero. So, according to me, the hacking and these leads to reputational damage, which can be devastating because when the data is compromised, whether intentional or intentional, it has a huge knockout effect on both the regulators and the users of data. I would like to conclude by saying that there are people out there thinking that these groups of activists are heroes, vigilantes, and Robin Hoods who are delivering who are delivering justice. But the stakes of delivering the justice are just way too high. And to me, they're just a group of cyber criminals performing digital attacks hiding behind the mask of online anonymity. Along with this, hacking public sector information is not only jeopardizing citizens' trust, but they are also putting nation security at the stake. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Now let's move on to the rebuttal round. So the rebuttal round is gonna be 4 minutes long, and it starts with a question from the opposition. The proposition will take up the question, and then they can ask another question. There will be no cross questioning, cross talk, or follow up questions will be allowed. If you feel like your question wasn't addressed satisfactorily, it will be taken care by the chair in the verdict. Also, please keep your questions very short and to the point. Okay, so is the op ready with the question? I'll start the timer.
Yeah, I'm ready with the question.
Okay. Start.
So, like you said, that the leaking of data is justified, but when the data is leaked, public organizations' data is leaked along with the public data as a part of collateral damage. So, how do you think it is justified? How do we know what happens afterwards? And It is not sold to other hackers.
Would first like to clear some information regarding hacking. Hacking definition is said to be an attempt to exploit a computer system or a private network inside a computer. In simple words, there are white hat hackers, the good guys, there are black hat hackers, the bad guys, or grey hat hackers, which are a mix between these two. Now, depending on the situations, hackers hacking is white, black, or gray, depending on the type and reason for the protest, depending upon which type of information was leaked by the hackers as a form of protest. The situation where the fight is for, it depends on it. For example, the black money and government hiding black accounts and money from the people. In this situation, even a black hat hacker will have a more will be like more like a Robin Hood for the people. And if there's a point where leaking data without someone's permission is a crime, then using someone's hard earned money without their permission will be a bigger crime. In this time of corona, where people has turned digitally, not only because there has to be a change in which should remain consistent, but also because it was a call of time. If the had data was a part of the people itself, then there should be no debate. In simple word, this was a case, a return good for good, return evil with justice. Many hackers today hack various social media sites such as Facebook, YouTube. So this cannot be said ethical, which should be considered unethical. This should be done only by the government security and cyber security white hat hackers. I would like to conclude by saying that hacking at the end is an attempt to hack, lead, or exploit someone's data. The humble conclusion should be no one has a right to take the authorities in their hand to do these kinds of things. Ethical white hat hackers are there by the government, so no one needs to get their hands dirty intentionally or unintentionally. Thank
You guys can ask a question, proposition.
Yeah, I have a question. Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead with it.
Yeah, if there's no ethical cyber hacking for justice, then what are the other ways to serve justice? Because nowadays everything and every evidence is provided online. There are transactions going on online, and there are papers that are online. There are construction bills and everything are online. So, what are the other ways to provide evidence for justice?
I would like to answer this question. Even when everything has moved online, hacktivism is not the only way for activism. There are many people who are bringing change through petitions, sit-ins, civil disobedience, rallies, and social media campaigns. Activism is just not the only source that we have to go to just because things have moved online. Protests are being launched and changes are being made without it also. Thank you.
Hello. If you want to complete your point, I can give you 30 seconds because you guys did not get time. Do you want to go ahead with it, or is this enough?
Yes, if you can give me some few
Yeah,
seconds.
sure.
I would also like to add that not each and every people or the masses are going through hacktivism. Hacktivism is included just in few cases, which has very huge impact on our security. For example, many petitions are made through High Court, Supreme Court. People go and participate in rallies, civil disobedience to get the government to notice their point and bring changes, and even justice is being brought through this. So hacktivism is not the only source.
Okay, thank you so much. Now we can move on to the next round. So, can we have the second speaker from the proposition?
Yes.
Yeah. So you will have 3 minutes, and then you'll get 15 seconds to wrap it up.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. We can start in 3, 2, 1.
Respected sir and madam, we as opposition are not against hackers protesting. In fact, the right to protest has emerged as a very essential right for any democracy to function. But just like using violence for protesting is illegal because it causes harm, in the same manner, hacktivism is not appropriate enough as it causes harm by breaching personal and financial security of the accused and, more importantly, that of the masses. It is very unfortunate that the harm done to our security is seen as a collateral damage and also sometimes published online to boast of the hacker's victory. When the world is embracing online transactions and trading, hacking for protest can lead to people's fear in trusting online methods and can also take us and the technology back several years. More importantly is the fact that there is no inclusion whatsoever of the public in hacktivism in many cases. These ideas of protest and changes are constricted to a small group of people who then go on to hack organizations. Nowhere in this process is the common public included. In fact, important data is forfeited for ideas and changes that the small group thinks is right. For example, Sony Pictures hack where the entire information of employees was hacked. And even in cases where the public interest lies with that of the hackers, the national and public secure and personal security of an entire population is at stake. When the hackers hack into a particular organization such as law firms, they just do not hack into the law firm's data but also that of their clients who have no relations with the protests whatsoever. And this is a complete breach of their security. How can we trust that the data being hacked will not be sold on dark web or used for someone else's benefit in the future? When hackers post public data online, which has happened many a times in the past, someone else can very well use it to harm others. In fact, some of the members can get our bank details through hacked sites like PayPal and very well loot us. Protests can be launched, changes can be made, and justice can be bought through legal measures as well, like rallies, civil disobedience, sit-ins, petitions, and social media campaigns, without a security breach acting as collateral damage in between. Changes. Sorry, hackers can very well discuss their ideas of changes online and even start social media campaigns like everyone else, but they have no right to hack into someone's website or phone and retrieve data, which is completely unethical and against the law. Thank you.
Okay, can we have the who was speaking right now? Can I know?
Um, Fatima,
Okay,
the second speaker.
from the proposition, right?
No, I'm with opposition.
Okay, okay. We were supposed to have the first speaker from the proposition, but okay, now can we have the first speaker from the proposition? I mean, second speaker
Yes,
from the
ma'am.
proposition. Yeah. Okay.
Can I start?
Yeah.
Hacktivism depends whether the hacking was to harm others, use others for someone's deed, hacking for someone's deed, even for unethical part of it should be considered ethical. And if there's a point where leaking a data without someone's permission is a crime, then using someone's hard-earned money without someone's permission should be a bigger crime than it. In this time of Corona, where world has turned digital, not only because there was a time to change, but it was a call of the time. If there's a data which was a part of the people and it returned to the people, then it should not be considered unethical. It was just return of good for good and return from evil to justice. Many hackers today hack various social media sites such as Facebook, etc., YouTube, etc., which should not be considered ethical. It is a part of unethical thing which should be taken in hands by the white hat hackers, by the government, and the cyber securities. Hacking can be said as an exploitation of computer system or private network inside a computer. In simple words, the white hat hackers, which are the part of the government, and there are black hat hackers which do hacking unethically, which are considered to be as the bad guys, and the great hackers, which are the mix of them. Now, depending on the situation, these hackers can be considered white black or gray, depending on these types. Depending on the types for the protest, whether it was to use someone, whether it was to help someone, or it was to do someone's deed. These hackers are considered black, gray, or white hat hackers. Thank
Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so I think we can move on to the conclusion round. So,
Just um,
let's have the proposition. Is the proposition ready with the conclusion? You'll get 2 minutes to conclude, to present your concluding statement. Are you guys ready? You guys ready?
Yes.
Okay. Starting in 3, 2, 1.
Hacking at the end is an attempt to hack or exploit someone's data. The humble conclusion should be that no one has the right to take the authorities in their hand to do these kinds of things. We have ethical white hat hackers which are led by the government, which are the cyber security people, which do these kinds of things, which do good for the good and bad with the justice. To do these kinds of things, ethical white hat hackers are available to help people to save someone from hacking, and also from the ransomware people, which do trap people on Facebook and various sites. And there is no one needs to get their hands dirty intentionally or unintentionally, as there are part of government bodies who take the responsibility to do these kinds of things and help other peoples.
Okay, can we have the opposition for the concluding statement?
yes,
Okay. Start in 3, 2, 1.
I would like to conclude our argument by summarizing that public is sometimes not included in hacktivism, and even when in cases where the ideas of public and the hackers are the same, the stakes of security are still sky high. Hacking public sector information will imperil national security and citizens' trust. We have to realize that hackers who are virtually untraceable can also hack into government operations, banking transactions, city power grids, and even military weapon systems. This hacked data can be then sold or used on the dark web. There are other various and more impactful methods of proving that the government or any other organization is wrong and we are right. Some of these can be civil disobedience, rallies, social media campaigns, etc., which causes no harm to anyone. I am very afraid and concerned of everyone's security if hacking, which is essentially the invasion of privacy, breaking of rules and people's trust, and leaking of confidential information, doxing, as continues as a means to protest. As a result of hacktivism, now governments of many countries are now considering to put restrictions on certain online systems and methods, which will ultimately result in being a disadvantage for the masses. Thank you.
Okay, guys, with that, we have concluded our debate. Chair, would you like to take some time before you announce the verdict?
Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, yes.
Right. No, I
Yes.
think that I have the hello.
Yeah, yeah. Please continue.
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool. Um, right, I think I have the verdict. I don't need to like wait. I just give it out. So the motion falls and the opposition wins the debate. Um, the major clash that took place in the entire so first off, like the debate was fairly average. The arguments that were presented were within the scope of common rationale and could have been better, but whatever was discussed was like fairly good. Um, the major clash, however, was the ethicality of the ethic. Yeah, um, yeah, the actual ethics behind hacking. So when the opposition side tried to engage continuously upon how invasion of privacy of the people who aren't even a part of the entire activity, their privacy is infringed upon, and what are the possible harms that can come out of it. The government side did not exactly engage with the opposition over this. What they try to say is that, well, in a way, if they'd rather prefer the hacking of like people who are stealing money instead of over privacy. In a way, this is not justified to the common average reader. So, as adjudicators, for example, we are supposed to be common people who read the newspaper and have a basic knowledge of everything. But the arguments that the speaker propose has to be justified in some other way. So, when the speaker from the government side comes and says, you know what, I am fine with my privacy being hacked, but in case if like the Panama Papers are being leaked because of that, then I'm totally okay with it. That cannot be accepted by a common reader unless it has to be justified on what exactly is the effect of the Panama Papers being leaked on me as a common person whose privacy is being infringed upon. Unless and until that is not justified, I cannot accept such a huge and immensely well impactful statement. Secondly, what was engaged by the government was this definition of hacking and how there are white and black hackers. uh, I do not believe that this fairly falls within the boundary of what they're supposed to like justify the burden of, which is supporting hacking and the consequences of it. So, in a way, there was just one clash that I saw in the entire debate, and that was clearly taken by the opposition. Otherwise, yeah, fairly good speeches. Thank you. If there are any questions, you can like come forth with it now. Can
Guys,
you hear
if you
me?
have, yeah, guys, if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask.
I have a question. How do you think we could improve our argument and make it more concrete?
This is the closing opposition, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's see. Um, the motion was the House supports the hacking and releasing of confidential information as a form of protest, right? Um, First off, let's see, the form of protest that you try to engage upon, you first need to understand what's the basic motive behind that. So when the government comes up and says, you know what, we are here to disclose the Panama Papers, most of that is something that you need to tackle upon, which is like when we are like, staying in a country which has the freedom of expression. Protests can be varying from people to people. So, like for example, someone might just protest the way BJP is trying to run the government right now, whereas someone else might be trying to protest the scams that Congress had conducted in the past, like few years when they were in the ruling power. So then these both are in a way methods to protest. And then are both of these justified in the first case? If this becomes the basis for you to start hacking and releasing of information, then is the very core of your purpose justified over here? That is the first thing that you need to tackle. The second is the methodology with which you're doing it, right? Hacking and releasing of confidential information, which is something that the opposition clearly engaged upon really well. So there was the very basic scope of this debate you took upon well enough, which is privacy laws. You did talk about how like money is like so online transactions are becoming a huge thing right now. You could have engaged